Thank you for joining us tonight from Oklahoma City. My name is Juan. You might know me by Life of Juan too. I also run the Kicklahoma brand in Oklahoma. And tonight we have a special interview here for some personal business, but in town from California. The one they love to hate, as I would say. Perfect pair. So today, Kenny, I appreciate you giving me the privilege to give you this interview. I reached out to you about it last week. You know, we talked about a couple of things off air. You know, nothing that we wouldn't be willing to share today. But how are you doing today, man?
Very well.
That's good. That's good. Again, I appreciate you giving me the honor to have this interview. We're going to talk about, you know, some comments made and talk about some particular shoes, maybe per se, maybe the future, the past, a little bit of everything. And I'm going to ask you everything in a respectable manner.
Perfect.
And we're just going to go from there. So the first thing, you know, you've told us in Oklahoma City before, we didn't really have an interview whenever you were here for the Kicklahoma show in October. You just came on stage. We talked about the shoes per se. So we're really going to dig into some stuff now. Now, previously, you have, again, in Oklahoma City, told us the name behind the perfect pair, which I think I don't know how many people actually know about it. So if you can just enlighten people on what actually the perfect pair means, because a lot of people are going to think it's the $2,000, $3,000 pairs of shoes on his feet when it's really something else.
Correct. It definitely means more than that. The perfect pair, it started as, obviously, my wife and I. That's the perfect pair. It didn't start with a pair of sneakers. My wife had an Instagram account, and it was called Montana Spain. And at that time, she was posting and things about our family life and stuff like that, and whatever. You know, I didn't even know what Instagram was, to be honest with you. So she told me she had this app, and from there we kind of just moved forward. And she was posting, and the next thing I know, she started posting up a bunch of my sneakers. You know, they're behind the door, they're in the bathroom, they're in the guest bedroom, they're on top of our dresser, they're basically taking over our home is what she was basically writing on there. So, and if you go back and look, it's still on the timeline, it's still there, of her writing these things back in the day, not me. So, and then we changed it to Kenny in Montana, because I started posting a little bit more of my sneaker stuff and what I was doing, and didn't really think sneakers were that relevant at the time, to be honest with you. So, and then it moved on to, I said, you know what, you know, these kids are really liking the shoes, and they're liking what I've got, so let's go ahead and name it something different. And she came up with the name The Perfect Pair. So, and again, it really didn't have anything to do with shoes. It had to do with her and I, and it just kind of coincidentally worked with the sneakers at the same time. So The Perfect Pair is Montana and I.
Right. Now, you did bring up how it's not about sneakers, and it's funny because I went on ahead and I scrolled way back there to day one, and it's Halloween pictures, it's boxes in closets, it's a bunch of random stuff. It's really something you don't see sneaker-wise.
Correct.
Now, again, the first sneaker post was actually 3 years ago in about a quarter, and it was, how I would say it, and we all go through the phases. It's the 15 through 18-year-old who's outside snapping his own shots. He has several filters. As the boys like to call it, the tippy-toe shots or whatever it is. You know, that's what they were calling it. But it was a lot of, hey, I got the Kobe jersey with the shoes, and you would have two side shots. And everybody's gone through that phase. Whenever I started posting shoes, I went through that phase. And it was like you said, it was very sparingly. You would see a pair here, you would see a pair there. So, of course, when you hear a lot of things, people always bring up, he came out the woodworks. Where was he at? At the same time, I think what people fail to realize is social media doesn't make us. It's just a part of our life.
Correct.
So, I mean, just to kind of give them a branch or give them some information behind it, before social media, what was the quote-unquote sneaker life for yourself? You know, as far as, you say you've been doing this for 22 years, you said 92, moving forward. You said you started enjoying shoes and collecting them then.
Correct.
So before social media, say 5 or 6 years ago, when everybody says you appeared,
right,
what was a typical day, or not a typical day, but what was the shoe life for you as far as collecting shoes and whatnot?
Basically the same you see now. Nothing's really changed. It got more heavy, I'll say, around about the time you're talking about, you know, 6, 7 years ago. You know, it got more heavy. Before that, I was wearing Brioni suits and Gravati shoes and Mareskis, and I was more involved in dog showing. So I wasn't really involved in what my footwear was about at that time. I cared more about comfortability and having a nice shoe to put on your foot for showing my dogs. So, and I needed comfort. I wore a lot of Kohans at that time, which was owned by Nike. So, you know, a lot of things that I do know about brands and certain things I did know, but of course I never thought Perfect Pair or myself or sneakers would make me become anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So I guess you could go back and say in 2007, 8, yeah, I was getting sneakers, but was I constantly, you know, every Friday, Saturday? No, I wasn't looking for sneakers like that. You know, it was a different era, it was a different time. But yeah, I got sneakers, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like it is now. The craze is just different now for sneakers, and I may have created some of that craze, you know, I don't know. A lot of people point the finger at me for that. They say I'm the reason as to why some of these sneakers are so expensive. I disagree with that. I'm not going to name names, but I definitely disagree with that. So.
Right. So, like I said, we're doing some research. There's social medias. Your social media, you said it's had the name change. We go back to 2 years ago. It's really when the HD shot started coming out. The first one was the Undefeated 4. The Undefeated 4 would have been the first shot. And then after that, it was like LeBron 9 championships. You know, it was some higher-end shoes, so you can kind of see how people were, well, he's just coming out of nowhere because, I mean, it expanded from shoes to then it was just those high-end shoes, and I guess.
What they were failing to see, though, is I already had Blackout 11s, I already had Pit Crew 3s, I already had Oregon 3s, I already had a lot of player-exclusive Jordan PEs. In 1998, 99 is when I purchased the last shots. I purchased his 13s at that same time. So I've owned PEs since 1998. So for someone to say I'm new to the game or I'm new booty or I'm a newbie, I'm sorry they haven't done the research.
Right. And maybe that's just a perception they get off of their page. I know stuff has been moved around for particular reasons that, you know, we don't have to speak about. So I guess when they just see 2 years ago, they start seeing all the glamour shots and stuff. Like I said, before then it was, you know, I saw some Jordan 1s and 3s. And like I said, you could tell that you had a collection. I guess it's just what you were showing the world or showing people and then the perception that they take.
Yeah, and you got to realize the wife was taking those shots in the beginning with the iPhone. So she was getting down there and actually, as you say, glamour shots. You know, those came definitely, I would say 2013 for sure. 2012 is when she bought me my first HD camera, and I'm definitely not a photographer. So everyone thinks I am, but I'm not.
It's definitely a learning process for everybody. So would you say, I guess the best way to put this, I mean, you were kind of in a business aspect for a while, and then maybe over the time become more casually, more time being to posting these particular shoes and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, what I saw is that people wanted to see it. You know, it was, you know, I've never seen this before. Where did you get, where'd you get this? How did you get that? You know, things like that were asked. And sometimes I would answer the question, sometimes I wouldn't. I mean, to be honest with you, it's really none of their business how I got my sneakers.
Right.
But in the same aspect, I understand the question. You know what I mean? They see stuff, oh, wow, where'd you get that? It's not your business, but in the same aspect, put 2 and 2 together. I wear size 13, so, I mean, it's not hard to figure out where some of these crazy shoes are probably coming from. So.
Right. And I think that's one of the, $1 million questions. Did you, since you came on the scene so late, did you buy a collection?
Absolutely not. No. There's what collection could I have bought? And that's the thing is, when I'm going to go buy Michael Jordan's closet, I mean, it's kind of difficult to do that. You know, I don't know Michael Jordan on a personal level, so how could I do that? So the best way to say it is, for me, is it's just been years and years of putting shoes together. I was blessed to get some of Lewis's shoes when he passed away. You know, I did receive some of his older stuff that, you know, now that I can wear that back in the day that I couldn't wear. I wore size 11 and a half when I graduated high school. So, you know, now I wear size 13. I'm 100 pounds heavier than I was in high school. So there's a reason for that. You know, a little bigger foot, a little bigger person. But I'm glad that he had those shoes because now I can wear those shoes today. That's like I have in the bag with me today. I have a pair of 99s with me that everybody says I've soul swapped and I've done all these things and blah, blah, blah. But And so I've just been wearing them since that day. So it's just that point.
So of course we saw in the nice. You said you took on some of Lewis's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them went through to, or some of them were in the house, in his house in the backyard. What about the rest of the collection?
I would say the rest of the collection, you got to realize Lewis had about 600 pairs of shoes, and we put 250 to 300 pairs of shoes in the ground. I gave away and donated about 150 pairs of just GR regular shoes. A lot of DC stuff was given away. Lewis was into that. You know, he loved his DCs. But a lot of stuff was just gifted. It was given away. You know, my cousin, who doesn't speak to me anymore, he got given a lot of these shoes, and he bought a lot of the shoes from me. They were size 12, you know, my personal shoes. And I kept some of Lewis's shoes to replace those shoes. So, I mean, it's just like a give and give situation, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a give and take.
Right.
It was a give and give situation. So.
Absolutely. Again, like I said, I think one of the things that sparked this interview, you know, just kind of from what I see, everybody's always asking questions. So it's like, hey, let's hear it from you yourself.
Let's get to the bottom of it.
Let's just get to the bottom of it. So there were some comments made last week by Mayor. He said 5 years ago you were rocking Vans. So I just want to know, how's your Vans collection looking? Can you tell us about some of the exclusives you have there in the Vans line?
When I heard I rocked Vans, I think that's the funniest thing I've ever heard of in my life. I honestly, since I've been born, have never owned a pair of Vans. So for someone to say I've wore a pair of Vans or wearing a pair of Vans 5 years ago, they're reaching. And they're reaching for a reason, because they're trying to be relevant. In a world they're not really relevant in anymore. So, and they see me coming in and doing certain things, and they're trying to figure out, how does he move like that? How does he do that? And they're trying to figure out my recipe. That's all it is. And he kind of got in my background a little bit and figured out some of my recipe. So he got that Crep Protect deal, all because of me. I walked him straight to the booth. I'm not going to badmouth Mayor and what he has. All I will say is he has a glorified collection of IDs that a lot of people think is something big. And I will say this too, he claims to fame on a AF1 that was made for him by Nike. Well, I know a little backstory to that actual shoe. If it wasn't for Clark Kent, he would not have that sneaker. That's all I'm going to say. So he can never say Nike made him that shoe. Clark made him that shoe. So,
okay.
And that's just a backstory that comes from people who actually work at Nike.
Right. We deal with a lot of different people day in, day out.
Yes,
somebody gets us in contact with this person. Another thing that was said, which, I mean, having talked to George Kill myself, he said, Mayor said, your claim of fame was Nice Kicks. Well, George somehow found you to put you on Nice Kicks.
That's correct.
So, I mean, how did that come about?
Well,
before your claim of fame on Nice Kicks, how did George find you?
And they also say that, you know, my brother's collection is what made me. You know, I've heard that a lot. George Kill was getting in contact with me about a year before my brother passed away. So, what does that tell you? I mean, if you got common sense, that would say I already had a wonderful collection of sneakers before my brother ever passed away. And I hate to say it, every exclusive shoe my brother ever had in his collection was brought to him from me. So, I don't really know what to say, but Lewis was an OG, I'll say that. But to get them exclusive shoes, they all came through me.
We'll just touch on one more thing before we move on to the next.
Yeah,
this
no
interview's about yourself, not
yeah,
him. But
no problem.
just one more thing. He says like everybody else, some people will find him as God. Some people, he just doesn't mean nothing to us because he came recently on. But one thing that he did say, he said he didn't have a thing for you because y'all talked and he told you something stupid. But he wouldn't say what. Is there a particular conversation that you think might have?
There was. I never talked directly to Mayor after he called my wife asking for a hookup on Container Store boxes, drop boxes. I really found that irrelevant for him to even be calling my wife. First of all, you call me, you talk to the horse's mouth. You know what I mean? You talk to the boss man, and then I pass that information along to talk to my wife. I've never called his wife, and I never would, because in a respectful manner, I would talk to him first.
Absolutely.
So what he did is he actually left a message on my wife's phone and saying, I need to know if you have the hookup on these container drop face boxes. I'm switching over this, that, and the third. He saw what I was doing, so I guess you'd kind of say I led the way for his sneaker basement.
It seems like a lot of us are moving to the quote-unquote Tupperware room.
Yes, that's
which,
correct.
Hey,
it's easy.
it's a lot easier. I mean, even if you just got 9 high, it's a lot easier. So the boxes just start taking a toll on each other. So with that being said, why? Of course, because there's always going to be love and there's always going to be hate. But why is there hate for the perfect pair?
Easy to hate. That's the best way to say it. And when you have a target on your back, success breeds envy, which brings hate. And I've been successful since I've been 18 years old. I'll say since I've been 16 years old, I've been successful. You know, I didn't need necessarily Indian money to make me a successful person, but it has made me, in my life, in my family's life, a lot easier. And I'm a very blessed man for that. And I thank Sam Manuel, which, again, I think needs to be kind of cleared up. I own one casino through family. I don't own by myself a casino. I don't get that kind of money. I wish I did, but through a family of an Indian tribe is how I actually am paid. So that question arises a lot on my Instagram.
Oh, I bet.
How do you get paid? How do you get this money? How do you get this? How do you get that? Well, safe to say it's people making mistakes inside casinos and gambling their lives away pays for these wonderful sneakers. So
right.
That's all I can say.
And I think it's a question that I've received as well. Like, hey, he buys these expensive shoes. If you had that type of money, you would try to get something that was in your lane at the same price. I collect KDs. People know that. If I had that type of money, I would have KDs that I don't have right now. You know, I would, you know, you're going to get stuff that you like if you have the money. So it's not like, it's like, well, he had it. If you had it, you would probably do the same thing. You would do whatever was in your interest, whether it's shoes, cars, bikes, whatever the case may be. You're going to spend money on it.
Correct.
So.
And we do a lot of give backs too. Not a lot of giveaways on my Instagram. A lot of give backs. So we don't announce it. We don't say anything to anybody. We just give the sneakers away. We DM the person. You know, this, that, and the third. There's a whole lot of things that my wife and I do. More so her. You know, because she really pushes for that thing. But there's a lot that we do for the community in a whole. Not just put a pretty picture of sneakers on Instagram.
And that's something that I will vouch for Kenny on that one, because one of the people that now is volunteer for myself, Allie, received a pair of shoes last Christmas, yes. And basically y'all just told her, hey, send us your top 5 shoes that you want.
Correct.
And hey, lo and behold, in January sometime, she got those shoes. So yes. That's definitely something that people don't fail to realize that, they see it all on your page, but they're like, well, he might do other stuff, like you said.
Right.
So, well, we're going to not step away, but we're going to move away from some, I guess, the controversial questions and perfect. Stuff. I do just have a couple of sneaker personality, people type, maybe just, like I said, just to branch off for a little bit from these other questions, and we'll get back to that. So just kind of like a description or, thoughts on them as a collector, whatever as far as. So the first name I have is Dependable J.
Wonderful dude. Jay Jones, a good man, great collection of sneakers. I definitely envy what he has. I wish he'd wear some more of his kicks, but that's my motto, So I understand him not wearing a lot of some of the kicks he has. I get it. But no, solid guy, for sure.
Right, he definitely does have a collection. If you haven't checked them out yet, at Undependable J, it is PE upon PE. And I promise you haven't seen half that. You probably haven't seen 75% of that stuff until you flip onto his
Correct.
page.
That's very true.
The second name I had down on the list would be come from the female side of it, and everybody's a big fan of her. Obviously, and it'd probably be an easy one to you, just as a sneaker enthusiast in person, as a collector. Kicklahoma.
Elise. Elise is she's a decent lady. I don't really know her personally, so I can't really speak personally about her. I do know that she has a wonderful collection of sneakers, and she's very passionate about what she does. So
she gets pretty diverse on her collection as
correct.
Well.
Yeah.
The last name that I have for this segment would be from down south. What the Kicks?
Jeremy. So
and this is the thing you have to like. He knew him by name. You get to know people by name in this industry. It's not. hey, the perfect pair.
Jeremy.
I don't even, off camera, I haven't called them the perfect pair yet. So that's just where we're at. It's like, it's part of.
That's true. You know, in this industry, you definitely cross paths with all these certain people. So Jeremy's a good guy. Decent set of shoes. I don't dog out his collection. I don't care for his cars, but it is what it is. Everybody has their own preference. So.
Right. So we're gonna step into one of these. We're gonna step into one of these questions, and I've kind of been thinking of. I dug deep for this question, and like I said, everything's gonna be asked in a respectable manner. Are you a trend follower per se, or you're gonna have to hear out the rest of this question?
No, go for it.
Scrolling through again, we've scrolled through. Of course, stuff has been moved around, moved off, you know, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Scrolling through, I see Adidas times bait. There was a pair on there.
Mm-hmm.
There were some Sauconys, some glow-in-the-dark New Balances, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I saw the one pair of Adidas, the Boost drops, and it happens to be a very, very, very popular shoe, of course, across the demand. I think for other reasons than what people think. You know, I see the 750s and, you know, all the 350s. How did that happen? Because, again, like I said, there was 60 minutes of sneak peek, and I don't think there was a pair of it. There might have been a pair of Adidas, maybe, like, in the last few seconds or something like that.
We went through maybe 150 shoes. I didn't show any of the shell toe Adidas that I do own and have owned for a long time with about 3-inch laces in them, and they go bar style because I've been a b-boy since I was 7 years old. So, you know, we grew up in Adidas shoes, so talking about them, what are we going to talk about? We talk about shell toes?
No.
We can talk about some Stan Smiths?
My thing was.
What is there to talk about?
My thing was, you see high-end Nike.
Because before the Boost, there was nothing to talk about. I'm not trying to be rude.
So what
It's just the truth.
What makes the Boost something to talk about?
It's just the comfort level. And I'm not talking about the Yeezy Boost either. I have all the Boosts. I had the Boost before the Yeezy Boost. So just because I don't post them on social media doesn't mean I don't have them.
Right.
So I wear those shoes quite often, to be honest with you. They're very comfortable shoes. They're my go-tos. They're easy to put on. They feel very good on the foot, even for a fat foot like myself. And I enjoy the sneakers, to be honest with you. And I'm glad to see a revamp of a sneaker that I used to kill on the dance floor. So I'm glad to see that come back, to be honest with you. If you want to see some of my old school size 11s, I'll break them out for you one day for you.
Like I said, I think that's just, like I said, social media doesn't tell everything, but that's the perception that they get. That's the perception I've got from some people where it's like, you know, they go through LeBrons, and then all of a sudden the Yeezy Boost drops. I'm like, I've never seen you wear a pair of Adidas. Right. Now you have 750s. Now you're spending this on 350s and stuff like that.
I can have people attest to me being fresh to death in 1994 to 1997, head to toe, in Adidas shell toes, Adidas tracksuits.
So like the tracksuit off of
with a Kango hat on my head.
So you sound like Ashton Kutcher off of Dude, Where's My Car? In the all Adidas.
I'm just keeping it real, brother. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And I'll say this too. In 1996, when the 11 dropped, I was wearing the 11s hard on the dance floor too. A lot of people will attest to that also in this state. Now in California, Florida, New Jersey, New York, they weren't here. So how would they know?
That's true. Like I said,
that's all I'm going to say, man. I mean, they weren't here. They're speaking on things that aren't relevant, that they think are relevant, because of fabricated stories brought through Instagram. Cool story.
And we'll definitely touch. We'll touch the topic of some 11s in a bit. So right now, we're just going to kind of move and talk about some shoes individually. Some different things that have crossed the board, or just some questions that maybe haven't been asked yet. The first one was, when it comes to the Oregon shoes, what's your favorite? Which ones would be your favorite of all the Oregon shoes, and why?
Favorite? It's going to be threes, easily for me, and it's going to obviously it'd be the white. It'd be the white pair for sure. It'd be the white.
The white threes.
Yeah, it'd be the white threes. Easy to wear. It's just like the shoe on my foot. You know, it's just easy to throw on. It's easy to wear. It goes with everything. Everybody always looks down and thinks they're fake if they don't know, and if they do know, you get the nod. So that's the best way to say it. So.
That's how it goes down. You wear something and they're like,
what is that?
Most of the time they haven't seen it, so it's a tough.
Correct. Yeah.
Why do you
So,
make an assumption
yeah,
off of a certain?
Definitely the white threes for me. I own 2 pair of them. So. Yeah.
Another pair of some shoes that I wanted to talk about and jump on would be the OVO 10s and 12s.
Mm-hmm.
You, I believe, own all 4, correct?
That's correct.
The black and white in each, the 10s and the 12s.
That is correct.
We spoke in October. We talked about a couple things. You said you like the 10s.
Correct.
Is the OVO 10 just a glorified 10 that has OVO on the bottom?
It could be, yeah. It could also be a shoe that is easy to wear in a nice colorway. It's a very dressy Jordan shoe. So I like it for just the fashion statement it makes, to be honest with you. It's not for a flex statement. It's for, this looks good with this outfit, you know what I mean? So to me, I like the colorway. I could care less for the OVO on the bottom of the shoe. But for everybody else, that was a big deal. So
that was a couple $100, big deal in pricing of it. And we just look at it and just like, because they put that on it, they like it.
Correct.
And probably the same thing if the black one drops.
Yeah, same thing will happen.
Same thing will happen on the bottom. And we move over to the 12s.
I honestly believe that if they drop that black one, it'll be more expensive.
The black one?
That's my opinion.
Or they're saying Canada, All-Star Weekend, Toronto.
I already know.
So
it's going to be crazy.
there you go. Along with some other stuff dropping All-Star Weekend. We'll get on that later.
I heard about a 4. So.
And then let's talk about the 12s real quick because it's, like you said, those things, they don't come around cheap. You have both the 12s.
Correct. Not one of my favorite shoes either.
Definitely. Was just about to jump on. It's like you said, you don't, not a fan of the 12s, but you said you like both of them. For the part of the, I guess you said the Stingray was.
I like the way it was all fabricated. The Stingray, the supple leather, and again, it was right about the time I was getting married, so it so matched the the attire. So it was perfect. To be honest with you. So.
You wore the 12s at your wedding to dance in? Is that correct, or after your?
It was just for the recital, for the reception. So.
Okay. Yeah. And then the last individual shoe we'll touch on here real quick is the red Jordan 11. Now a lot of people are asking questions about that. You happen to have a pair. How did that come about? There's a lot of questions.
As a lot of those shoes, it's pure luck. Right place, right time. People slide in your DM. You have certain people hit you up. You got to trust certain people, and there's a certain person I know that knows Mello, and it's just that simple. And I was able to get the shoe. It's very simple. It's not hard math.
Now, I did see where the original photos are posted of it on 2014. They come from Trey. There you go. So that's the one pair, because the funny thing was I heard other things where it was just a 10.5 at first, and then you say you actually got Mello's pair because he wears a size 15 a ball in and 14 casually.
Correct.
So it wasn't a casual fit for him, I'm guessing.
He wore it one time. That's all I can think of. He wore it one time. You see a picture with him and Lala wearing the shoe.
Which leads me to my next question. Whenever you had the revisit, or episode 0, you had the shoe in the case made by
Soul Treasures.
Soul Treasures. And you had it in there, and you said the shoe would never get worn.
Correct.
You wore it 3 weeks ago to Project Blitz, LA.
Correct.
Why that occasion? Why the day? What had that turn of mind to, hey, let me wear this shoe?
Dre and my brother are very good friends, and they were very good friends. Dre would come to the house all the time with shoes galore for Lewis. This is pre-Project Blitz. This is no Project Blitz. This is Dre, Andre, our friend, coming in to sell us sneakers. I didn't even know him as Croatian style. Honest truth. So he was coming in and he was selling Lewis and I sneakers. Lewis first, obviously. I didn't live out in California at that time. And then when I came along, boom, he was right there. And, it just went from that, moving forward. So Lewis and Dre knew each other very well. So me wearing that red 11, I felt it was kind of Lewis being there with me, walking through his Blitz LA. And I know Dre understood. A lot of people didn't understand it, but Dre understood it. When he saw the shoe, he looked down at my foot, he looked back at me, he gave me the smile, because he knew why I wouldn't wear the shoe. But there's a reason why I wore it. I didn't just wear it for a flex, to wear it to a freaking event. I wore it with meaning. You know, Lewis would have loved to have been there, and he couldn't be there. So obviously, and it's he was there in spirit through those shoes. So, and they were on my feet. I tried to wear them proudly as I could. It was tough, and but I did what I could.
So on that Jordan 11, it's obviously red. Red sells itself for the most part, and the Jordan 11 sells itself by itself.
Correct.
Do you think the shoe's ever going to drop?
I haven't been confirmed yay or nay on that, to be honest with you. And I do know people who obviously should know those type of questions. I haven't been told it either way. Just like how they did the 7210 thing. All of a sudden just dropped it. So they're doing things strategically on purpose. So that's the best way I can say it.
So there's your thoughts that possibly it could drop, because almost like the Pantone pack, there were some of those available years back, and then of course they finally dropped it last year with the 29.
Correct. And I did have one of those original Pantones also.
11, correct?
Correct.
There you go. So we're just going to jump into you do some background, man. You interview somebody, you have to have some information, and you have to know what you're talking about. You just can't jump into it. Somebody say, hey, he just jumped in it because he knows them or something. I mean, we've talked sneakers here and there, but, you know, and it's always in short spurts. So there was some background on this. So, again, I'm going to throw out 3 more names.
Go for it.
And just, you know, some background. You were able to meet this guy at my show. Let's just quickly Jumpman Bostic.
Mark's a good dude. What I like about Mark is he kind of said the same thing to me when we were at Topgolf. He hit on the subject talking about he's been doing this basically since before 85.
Zero monetary.
Right. And he just came onto social media in 2008, which kind of goes to show people like myself exist in this world of sneakers. I kind of respect that too. He wasn't trying to boast about all these things he's had for years, you know, and it just happened. Same way it just happened for me. It just happened for Mark. And now he's finally getting some monetary value out of it, as he should.
Right.
You know, I know he's not getting rich off this.
Of course.
You're not going to, you know, unless you're a reseller of sneakers. So, but for sure, I definitely have a lot of respect for his knowledge, his passion, and that's why I brought out to the show. I pay attention to what he likes. I pay attention to what he follows and what he's passionate about, besides just Michael Jordan. And I brought all the Ray Allen PEs that I could for him. So I hope he respected that.
He enjoyed it, and he let me know about it for a few days.
Because it's tough to think about and prepare for shows like that and put something together that actually has meaning, you know, and that had meaning for him. So
yeah, and I mean that's a question we can jump in real quick, because everybody seems to ask it. How do you pick out a pair of shoes when you wake up in the morning?
simple. Go to the closet and pick it out. It's not hard.
That easy, right?
Yeah, honestly, I go for the tee first. So I pick out my farmer's market T-shirt.
Which you have in about 30,000 colors. So how do you pick out the tee?
I just pick out a tee, and then from there I pick out the shoes. So it's very simple.
The next collector, he's a different collector, because not everything's going to be in his size and stuff. He has a different way of things that we've talked about. Phase 2.
Phase 2, Jermaine. I think his name's Jeremiah.
Yeah, I believe
something like that. I don't know him personally either. Again, just a collector friend that I met through Instagram. Definitely a great collection of sneakers. Very knowledgeable. Don't have anything bad to say about him whatsoever. He spreads positivity all the time. Seems to be a very solid guy.
Yeah, I see him moving around a lot in the Portland area, because I don't know if he lives in Alaska or he did, or he's back and forth between there and Portland a lot. So see him out there at a lot of events. The last name I'm going to throw out, Life of Juan II.
He's actually a good dude, and he's putting Oklahoma on the map for this sneaker thing, and the whole events he's putting on are wonderful. So good dude.
I appreciate that.
No
I didn't have to throw it in, but it is what it is. It's home, right? I mean,
Yes,
it's home for both of us.
Yes.
Just because you're not here all the time, does not make it home.
Correct.
And then we just jump into about 3 general questions. Your thoughts, real quick.
No worries.
You let me know whenever we're ready to go back on. All right, one of the things we, we were lucky enough at our show, you brought the Ray Allen 8 home PE from the Celtics, and you said it was 200 and, what did you say, 36, 260 something that hadn't been seen on social media yet, which is another one of those.
Correct.
What was the exact number?
It
was in the two somethings.
We'll say 230.
So if you can see the Celtic home, it's all white. For my sake, paint one more picture in our head. Throw a shoe that hasn't been seen. Just name the shoe. Say, hey, Jordan 3.
LeBron 8 low.
Colorway? You don't have to say colorway. Just give the color a name. That way we can draw this pic. That way you can have everybody sitting at home like, he said the LeBron 8 Kentucky low, and we're all thinking this is black, this is blue, this is.
I'll say it like this, it's all white.
Well, that's very easy. All white LeBron 8 low. He could have made that one any easier. So if you haven't seen that one yet, then there you have it. Now, it's cool that you brought up to LeBron, because the next question would be, you're obviously a LeBron fan.
Yes, sir.
You've been deep into the LeBrons for a while. We've seen, 4s, 8s, 7s that you won't see that often and stuff like that. In 20, 25 years, where do you see the LeBron 1 compared to the Jordan 1?
Doing the same exact thing. I don't see it being any different, to be honest with you. I mean, come on. LeBron of this era is the Michael Jordan of the old days. So you can't knock it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he's the second Nike athlete to ever receive a full-time, lifetime
first
Nike deal. He's the first?
The first.
See?
Today. That's what we're talking about.
Juan corrected me. See what I'm saying?
Barbershop this morning.
Exactly.
Barbershop, ESPN.
But I'm just saying, like, that's amazing to me. So that's his achievements. That's his accolades speaking through Nike, not anybody else's BS. So.
Real quick, I didn't talk it down while we were talking shoes and stuff. What have been your thoughts this year on this whole Jordan remaster series? Unfortunately, you can walk in that house of hoops really anywhere right now, and a lot of the stuff's still on shoes, champs, here, there. What are your thoughts this year on how the Jordan brand took, and what do they need to do to keep cleaning up the craft, I guess, or keeping it built up to where it needs to be?
What I saw them do is see the resellers winning and them losing money. So what they did is point and turn, put more product for more money, and it turns the resellers away and makes them get a new job. And that's what happened. It made a lot of people sour. I get it. But they have to go after certain shoes now. That's what I'm seeing. They're having to reach out for certain shoes to be able to actually resell to make money off of. And I think they're controlling that too. So it's smart how they've actually gone to, let's flood it with everything out there and all these little goofy shoes and whatnot. It's very smart to me. I don't see it as being a bad move. Business-wise, you can't say it's bad. So, and their numbers aren't showing it's bad. I can say that. So.
Right. No, you definitely bring up a good point. One thing that I brought up is why don't they go up on the prices? That way resellers don't have that much to make over it. Now when they flood the market, it's like if you want a pair, go get you a pair. There's no, you need to pay $260 instead of $220
right.
for
or there's only this many in this spot, and have your boy stand in line for you and charge you $200 extra more dollars.
Right.
So.
Even though they're still going to have some product out that of course, is going to be tougher to get their hands on. They do Supremes,
Correct.
the PSNY 12s this weekend. So they keep. They're still.
And that's the stuff I'm talking about. The exclusive stuff that they keep under wraps and do things like that for reasons. They saw a market, a niche, become available, to the public of these crazy, exclusive sneakers. So why not take it into our hands and distribute them? And that's exactly what they did.
That's exactly what they've done. Now we're just going to wrap up here. We're going to talk a couple of topics here, just closing out, what the future sees for yourself. Now, it's crazy. We talked in October of 2014 when you were the first time I met you in Oklahoma City, and you're like, Project 193 is my project. I'm working on it.
Right.
It's crazy the number of people I've seen started working on that project. Yes. And of course, people are fashioning their socks with their shoes. And at this time, it was really little. now they're in the NBA, on players. It's crazy how things can grow that much. Just tell us a little about your relationship with Stance.
Blessed to have a relationship with Stance. Albie Rosario is my man over there at Stance, and he takes very good care of me. I met him at Agenda about 2 years ago, and him and I came together with an idea of making me a Stance sock, and that's exactly what we started doing. And from that point forward, they started seeding me socks. I started putting those socks and pairing those socks with shoes I didn't really see those socks get put with too often. But it is what it is. I'm blessed to be a part of a team that are trying to build. They're not just trying to be stagnant and just diluted, you know what I mean? So I'm very proud to say that I am a part of that.
It's crazy that you say build, because like I said, I've seen numerous people across there use, Project 193 as a hashtag, and then just following up on Stance. They're up 134% on employment within the last year, so it's just like the growth is there, and it's crazy. We're sitting there at dinner in October of 2014, and he's like, I got a sock coming out in 2016. And I was like, we're really talking about a sock coming out in 2014. And I was lucky enough to get a pair of those, and All-Star Weekend for the Cement Force.
Right.
Tell us, is that going to be limited sock?
It will be on the e-commerce. It will be coming out, it'll be coming out in correlation. I can't say with. It'll be coming out in correlation to the Cement 4 that's going to be re-retroed again with Nike Air on the back of it. The sock was made just for that shoe. And I find that quite odd that I've been kind of piggybacking this shoe on my back for the last 3-4 years, and everybody's all, that's Soul Swap, that's this, that's that. No, it's from 1999. And I think certain people were paying attention to what I was doing, and they made a shoe to go with my sock, and thank you, Jordan Brand. That's all I can say.
So with that being said, the True Blues 3 will be back in like 2017 or something like that, right? 2018?
From what I'm seeing.
History repeats itself.
Hopefully.
One other thing, congratulations on the new house.
Thank you.
Saw that. Just maybe something that the regular person would pay attention to. What happened to the 14 that was over the door?
It's in the new sneaker room.
Over the door again.
Yes,
so,
sir.
like you said, stuff has meaning. You just carry it on from place to place.
I even took the nail out of the wall that I hung the shoe up with and hung it back up with the same nail.
There you have it. Now, we've touched, a few topics from people, particular shoes, different times in, the past, the present. What's the future have for the perfect pair?
Branding. More and more branding. All I can think about is I go to a lot of boutiques that I just know the people there. I know the owner or people working inside there. And they talk about what I'm wearing. There are people coming in, pictures of myself. So obviously it looks like I need to start doing a little more branding for me. So
it was funny. Before Thanksgiving, somebody sent me a snap. It was like, it's perfect pairs at the Thunder game. I was like, no, he's not even in Oklahoma City yet. It was funny. I was like, he's got. I think your wife said it's just people being stupid and they got dummies out there. Or they got doubles of them. I was like, Kenny's a hard person to duplicate, but somebody pulled it off well enough to send a picture across.
My father, he does live out here, and he does go to a lot of those games.
Well, it wasn't courtside. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. so then you know better than okay.
Yeah, I got lucky to sit by him once. My tickets were free, by the way, on that one. But is there? Like I said, we touched a lot of topics. Is there anything you would like to discuss real quick? Maybe something that we missed. What path? Like you said, people are always worried about people that they don't know. What would you recommend to, like, I guess, maybe younger children coming up in this environment, or people are at my age, in the mid-20s, when it comes to this?
I'll say it like this. Love more. That's all I can say. I just see way more hate these days. And there is an old expression. It takes way more energy to hate than it does to love. So if you want to keep wasting your energy on that hate, go for it. The way I see it is put into something positive and start loving somebody. So.
Yeah, it's one of those, we've talked about it. It's like, why are you following us, or why are you leaving these comments. You don't have nothing nice. Why are you wasting your time with it?
And what it is they're going off, kid comments that are on, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, and just somebody bumping their gums. It's not truth. They're not going to fact. They don't have videos of me doing these things they talk about. So it is what it is.
It's crazy the stories you can hear, and it's just like, once I guess somebody gets on the internet and their fingers behind a phone, it's unlimited possibilities.
Well, the thumb scrolls win, my friend. The thumb scrolls win.
Well, Kenny, I do appreciate your time. I appreciate being able to sit down with you.
Sure.
I hope we got, some of those questions out. People want to know, hey, where did it come from? How long has he been doing it? Has he really been doing it for 5 years? And how's the van collection looking? This, that, all those.
That was a good one. I actually hit the floor when I heard that. So it was quite funny.
I was like, hey, man, I've never bought a pair of Vans either. I'm like, they're probably like $55, $80. I was like, crazy to see what type of gold-toed Vans he might have or something. Because, Kenny pull out some crazy stuff.
What's funny is he says that in the same aspect. He kind of said he kind of looked highly upon Dre's collection. But they got a Supreme on the back.
Well, the funny thing was, I spoke with this about somebody else who's talking about, hey, he hit the lottery with the money, but through his part, he was like, Nike sends me $100,000 worth of shoes a year. Nike sends me this. Nike sends me. So I'm like, you're getting your shoes for free. He was given the money. What's the difference? So I was like, that sounds very.
Whether you're gifted a shoe, you buy a shoe, however you got this shoe, it shouldn't really matter.
Well, it's funny when they say he bought into the game. Who's getting their stuff for free? I'm still paying. Whether it's Swoosh account or House of Hoops.
You better believe it.
These shoes, they don't show up for free.
No.
It's not free spam mail just in the mailbox. We're all paying for it. You're paying for it. He's paying for it. Everybody's paying for shoes one way or the other.
I get lucky. I get gifted some sneakers, but not a lot.
Right. Well, again, that's all we have for tonight. Again, I appreciate having the perfect pair here in Oklahoma City. We'll have this up tomorrow, and go ahead, leave comments, send us some feedback. I'm sure it's going to be around. Maybe he has some time to answer some questions that you didn't leave in the comments. He'll take some time to answer those, and yeah, that's it.
Perfect deal.
City.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
All right, brother.
Appreciate it.
Yep.